Oh, fancy meeting you here, Robbie.
Oh, hi, Evan.
Was there anything pressing that you wanted to talk about, say, related to the existential concerns of free lives?
Yes, actually.
Oh,
I was wondering in what situation we would have to go bankrupt and lose our jobs.
whew, that concerns all of us. And you. In the situation where Free Lives either finds no new games to work on or works on a game that makes no money, we would go bankrupt, Robbie, and you would lose your job. And no one would play that game, or no game, depending on which of those paths we went along.
So I think what we're trying to say is at some point in the near future, we need to make a video game that a lot of people buy.
Yeah, and it could be good as well. The goodness is not the important part.
Yeah, that part doesn't actually matter for the survival of the studio.
It just has to sell. So, how do you think we should go about this?
We've obviously been trying to solve this problem for a while, and we made quite a few prototypes last year, two of which were quite similar in terms of it being like the same genre.
The games we're talking about here are Eco Warriors, which we worked on, as well as Adonai and Jared and Jason and Jonathan during the last Ludum Dare. The other one is Cult Smashers, which we worked on in Pirate Jam, and it was also Jason and Jared, and it also had Nocel.
I think we just figured they'd be interesting to talk about from a design perspective because on the surface, they occupy like a similar design space, but they're actually like completely different ideas in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Even though like if you just look at them, they're both just like top-down shooters. Right, so here we are at Paloota's Pride Parade. So if you stop and read all this text, this is basically the setup for the game is that the year is like 2020 or something like that. And
Probably about 2019.
yeah, roughly around that time. In the distant future. And Al Gore has secretly been building a paramilitary force for the day that moderate debate fails.
Yeah, thank God for Al Gore.
There's sort of these like comically evil pollutionists that are just like anti-environment, and their argument is like, no, we should pollute the oceans, we should destroy the rainforests because we hate trees.
Yeah.
They think we should like trap dolphins in plastic bags.
It's kind of just the bad guys from Captain Planet.
Yeah. Two things we wanted to try with this. One was to make sort of like Broforce, but top-down in terms of like short firing ranges. This would be cooperative as well, so you played with friends. It was quite inspired by things like Helldivers and Magicka.
Tactical play where the environment would change significantly as you played it. I mean, as you can see, we didn't get to do some of the things that we really wanted to do in that regard. Like it ended up being a fairly conventional top-down shooter. That said, we were quite confident that given time, we would be able to make something similar to Broforce in terms of the tactical depth and that kind of thing. We've done it once before. In theory, we could do it again. But we didn't manage to do it during the jam.
There's a lot of things that are quite good about this, like, for example, like if I shoot these boxes, then the barrel falls over and catches on fire, and then it explodes. Like, that's all very Broforce.
And it's also using a bit of the
pretty
physics.
Great that I can drive this buggy and smash through walls.
Except the door frames are pretty tough.
Yeah, so there's some good ideas in here.
So one of the
I'll just try that again.
Emergent gameplay. One of the best things about the game is the expressions on the bad guys' faces that Jared did. Like it's and so good that he tries to hit you with his briefcase. And also in Cult Smashers, which is the other game we're going to talk about, I think the world building was particularly weak there as well. So it's not just Broforce, but maybe a pattern of maybe not having particularly excellent world building and story interactions in our game.
Yeah, so I think part of this comes from working on General Jousting, where we realized that we really like sort of putting story moments like into the game, and it's kind of like bang for your buck in terms of like, you know, you make like a tree that talks to you as like a moment, and it's pretty easy to do, but suddenly it's like less video gamey and like more story, and like you can do world building.
At the same time, like I think Broforce's approach with there isn't much storytelling, but like everything kind of had to be mechanical parts of the game. Like it's like there's almost no story that isn't something you're actually doing. And I do think putting, say, this mission screen kind of thing. So I mean, it's good story. I think the writing's strong. It's more that it's not part of really the player's narrative. There's a lot of lore and backstory, I guess.
So I do think, like, in comparison to the amount of work it takes to make a level, the amount of work it is to write some like, you know, some mission briefing text afterwards, it's like, you know, that takes you maybe an hour, whereas like making the level takes, you know, a whole day if it's like a very small level or whatever. So this adds like a lot, and I think there's a lot of good jokes that we didn't tell yet in like the Eco Warriors world. So I love this idea that you can always do like a moderate debate, and then at the end of each level tells you how many successful moderate debates you had, but it's obviously always 0. And the other joke that I really love from the screen is this dolphin saved one, where we really wanted to have sort of dolphins in cages, and you would go around unlocking the cage to like free the dolphin, but obviously it would still be there in a cage.
Also, I will say putting eyebrows on everything was quite a genius move.
Yes.
More games could have. Well, I mean, I think
Geniuses.
maybe genius is a bit of a strong description. So this is a level that we kind of made a little bit after the jam, trying to test what it would be like to like have more explosions and more kind of tactical play. So these guys are kind of running. They're also sort of standing in place, a bit like Broforce enemies, where they're not alert and they're kind of. It's so good.
Yeah, they catch on fire.
So playing this cooperative, even though this is still pretty basic, I think would be quite a nice experience. You know, maybe with more buildings, so there's like actual choices. This is still actually ultimately very linear, and that's where kind of finding tree informants or speaking to people and like progressing through a map like that with like, it's your last chance, polluters.
On that note, let's talk about Cult Smashers. So the original sort of like seed was that we liked things like Diablo, but it takes you like 3 hours of like play till you get to the best part, which is when you like level up and you get like new skills and new items. So we wanted to really like condense that loop down and make a game where you get to make like interesting like skill tree and like build decisions for your character like all the time. And so we thought about a roguelike where every run you have sort of a procedurally generated skill tree. So we also tried to do a little bit of storytelling here. Like there's, I don't know if anybody ever notices it, but there's sort of like the ramp at the beginning, and it's sort of implied that you ramped a motorbike into this chasm.
So we've got, if you can see on screen, the skill tree here. This is procedurally generated, so it'll be different every time we play.
Every run, you're not really like exploring the environment so much as you are exploring like the skill tree and like trying to find synergies there. So we wanted to do something where it wasn't mechanical. We felt like there's a lot of like twitchy top-down shooters out there that requires you to like perfectly dodge every bullet all the time, and taking a hit is really bad. So we really slowed it down. You can see like how slowly the character moves and how the enemies just sort of like lumber after you. Like there's no real way to dodge individual bullets. So do you want to just talk through like how your current build works?
I've got a split shot which lowered my damage. Now I've got a ability to do some critical damage when I hit. So you can kind of see this sort of, I'm shooting a lot of bullets to do very little damage. My next plan is to make things, I found on the skill tree a place where so critical hits cause explosions, which I think is going to be really good, and I can make explosions even bigger. And the sniper's giving me some critical hits, and I can see another sniper over there.
But also like more bullets but lower damage means higher percentage of like critical hits. So like maybe this is like a critical hit based thing.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
So I think I want to point out
this is
about
gonna
the
be
design
good.
of this, which is like crucial to the way the game works, is that there's sort of a fog of war on the skill tree itself. So you can only see like 2 nodes deeper than what you've currently gotten. So you have to look for things.
Yeah, I'm trying to find faster reloads at the moment.
And I love that it's like a valid strategy to be like the reload build. I think like the fact that that kind of thing can happen is exactly what we wanted and exactly what we want more of in this game.
I killed someone on the ceiling somehow. Okay. If I can get faster reload, this build's going to be kind of amazing. That's not bad. In fact, that's kind of where... Ah! No! See those guys. I got to the end. Look at that.
Hey, we did it. Good job.
Yeah, so which one are we going to fiddle with? I mean, if there's easy ways to improve either, which one should we tackle if we're going to spend 2 weeks on trying to flesh one out? Or should you decide? We've got some time to prototype some things before diving into the next project, and we're looking around, but you know, we want to temper whatever our own stupid ambitions are with other people's stupid ideas. So let us know.
Also, if people are interested in like the design of these things, I feel like we could talk like a lot more in depth about like how each of them functions from like a design perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know if,
We could do that while trying to make a better version of one of them as
yeah,
well.
that would be a better idea. Okay, thanks for listening.
That's the fade out.